She was just finishing her 14-hour shift when she saw the little girl abandoned in a wheelchair, shivering in the pouring rain. What Maya did next would change both her lives forever and lead her to a destiny she never imagined. But the billionaire watching from the shadows had his own plans. The rain hammered down on Madison Street with relentless fury, each drop hitting the pavement like tiny bullets of ice. Maya Torres wiped down the same stretch counter for what felt like the 100th time that night, her hands moving automatically while her mind drifted somewhere between exhaustion and numbness. The clock above the cash register blinked 11:47 p.m. 13 minutes past closing time at Rosie's Diner. Her feet screamed in protest with every small movement. 14 hours. She'd been standing for 14 straight hours, serving customers who barely looked at her, cleaning tables that would just get dirty again tomorrow, and smiling to the kind of bone-deep exhaustion that made your teeth ache. Her lower back throbbed with each breath, a constant reminder that she wasn't 20 anymore. The diner should have closed at 11:30, but Maya had never been the type to kick people out right on the dot. Not when Mr. Patterson still sat in the corner booth, his trembling hands wrapped around a mug of decaf, like it was the only warmth he'd get all night. Not when the world outside looked like it wanted to swallow everyone whole. Through the rain-streaked window, past a flickering neon sign that read, Rosie's Diner, in faded pink cursive, something caught her eye. At first, she thought it was just a shadow, maybe a trash bag blown against the brick wall by the wind. But then the shadow moved. Maya's heart lurched. That wasn't a bag. That was a child. A little girl sat hunched in a wheelchair, just beyond the weak pool of light from the street lamp. Rain poured down on her small frame, soaking through her clothes, plastering her blonde hair to her pale face. She was shivering so violently that Maya could see it even from inside the diner. Jesus Christ, Maya breathed, the rag falling from her hands. She didn't think. Didn't pause to consider that it might be dangerous. Didn't worry about getting involved in something complicated. She just moved. Her coat was off the hook and half on before she'd even consciously decided to act, her feet carrying her toward the door on pure instinct. The cold hit her like a slap when she pushed through the entrance. Rain soaked through her hair in seconds, running down her face and neck, seeping into her work uniform. But Maya barely noticed. Her entire focus was on the little girl who'd flinched at the sound of the door, hunching her thin shoulders like she expected to be hurt. "Hey!" Maya called out gently, jogging across the slick sidewalk. "Hey, sweetheart." The girl's head snapped up, and Maya got her first clear look at those eyes, blue, wide, and filled with terror that made Maya's chest ache. This child couldn't have been more than 8 years old. Her expensive coat, probably worth more than Maya's monthly rent, hung off her small frame 2 sizes too big, soaked through and useless against the cold. The wheelchair she sat in was old, its metal frame battered and rusted, one will bend at an odd angle. Maya crouched down in front of her, ignoring the puddle soaking into the knees of her work pants. She kept her voice soft, gentle, the way you talk to a frightened animal. "What are you doing out here, baby? Where's your family?" The girl's lips trembled. Her small hands clutched a threadbare blanket that looked like it had been pulled from a donation bin. I'm waiting for my dad," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the drumming rain. Maya glanced up and down the empty street. No cars slowing down. No concerned parent rushing over. Just this little girl, alone in a wheelchair, sitting in the rain like she was something someone had forgotten to bring inside. "Where is he?" Maya asked, trying to keep the anger out of her voice. What kind of father leaves his disabled daughter outside in a goddamn thunderstorm? The girl's eyes dropped to her lap. He said he'd be right back. He had to make a call. Maya bit down hard on the inside of her cheek. She'd heard that line before, too many times. From too many kids whose parents' right back turned into hours, or sometimes never came at all. She looked at the wheelchair's wheels. The right one was stuck in a pothole filled with muddy water, and the girl clearly didn't have the strength to pull herself free. This child wasn't just waiting. She was trapped. "Okay," Maya said, standing up. Her decision was already made. "You can't stay out here. You're gonna freeze to death, you hear me? Come inside with me. It's warm. I've got food, and we'll wait for your dad together." "Okay." The girl hesitated, those 2 old eyes searching Maya's face for something. Safety, maybe, or permission to trust a stranger. "I promise," Maya added, placing her hand gently on the wheelchair's handle. "I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to help." After what felt like an eternity, the girl gave the smallest nod. Maya gripped the handles and pulled. The wheelchair lurched free from the pothole with a wet, sucking sound. She pushed quickly toward the diner, her arms shaking. Not from the weight, but from the cold, from exhaustion, from the sheer fury of whoever had left this baby out here like she was nothing. The warm air inside the diner hit them like a wall. The girl gasped, her whole body sagging with relief. Maya wheeled her over to the booth closest to the radiator, the warmest spot in the house, the one she usually saved for herself during breaks. She grabbed a clean towel from behind the counter and draped it over the girl's shoulders, tucking it gently around her neck. "There," Maya murmured, crouching down again to meet those scared blue eyes. "Better?" The girl nodded, but she still hadn't stopped shaking. Maya forced a smile, trying to make her voice light. "I'm Maya. What's your name, sweetheart?" "Lily." The name came out barely louder than a whisper, fragile as glass. "Lily." Maya repeated it like she was committing it to memory. "That's a beautiful name. You hungry, Lily?" Lily hesitated. Then quietly Maya almost missed it. "Yes." "Good," Maya said, straightening up. Her knees popped in protest. But she ignored them. "Because I make the best grilled cheese in the whole city. My grandma's recipe. You like grilled cheese?" For the first time, the smallest flicker of hope crossed Lily's face. I think so." "You think so?" Maya put a hand on her hip, pretending to be offended. "Girl, you're about to know so." She turned toward the kitchen but paused, glancing back. "You're safe here, okay? Nobody's going to hurt you. Not while I'm around." Lily looked up at her with those wide, too old eyes that had seen things an 8-year-old shouldn't have to see. "Okay," she whispered. Maya moved through the kitchen on autopilot, her hands knowing the motions even when her exhausted brain had checked out hours ago. Butter in the pan, bread on the griddle, cheese, the good stuff, sharp cheddar, not the processed garbage wrapped in plastic. She sliced it thick, layered between the bread, and pressed down with a spatula until the butter sizzled and popped. Her hands were shaking. She didn't know if it was from the cold, the exhaustion, or the way Lily had looked at her. Like Maya was the first person in a long time to ask if she was okay. The soup was already made, chicken noodle that had been simmering since the lunch rush. Maya ladled out a generous bowl, grabbed a handful of crackers, and carried everything back to the booth on a tray. Lily's eyes went huge. "This is for me?" "All yours, baby," Maya said, setting it down gently. She slid a napkin across the table. "Careful, the soup's hot. Blow on it first, okay?" Lily nodded, but she didn't wait. She grabbed a spoon with both hands and scooped up a mouthful, her eyes fluttering closed like she just tasted heaven. Maya's throat tightened. When was the last time this kid had eaten? She pulled up a chair and sat down across from Lily, watching her devour the sandwich. Cheese stretched in long, gooey strings, and Lily actually giggled, as she tried to catch them with her fingers. "Messy eater, huh?" Maya teased, reaching over to dab soup off Lily's chin with a napkin. Lily smiled. A real smile, small but genuine. "This is the best thing I've ever had," she said, her voice thick with wonder. Maya's chest ached. Good food makes everything better. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Just the sound of Lily chewing and the rain drumming against the windows. Mr. Patterson had finally left, shuffling out into the night with a mumbled thank you. The diner was empty now, just the two of them in their warm little bubble while the world raged outside. Maya leaned forward, folded her hands on the table, keeping her voice casual. "So your dad? He's coming back soon." Lily's spoon paused halfway to her mouth, her shoulders tensed. "He said he would," she murmured, staring down at the soup. He's really busy. He works a lot." "Yeah." Maya kept her tone light. "What's he do?" "He runs a company. A big one." Lily's voice got even smaller. "He's very important." "Important." Maya wanted to spit the word. "So important he leaves his disabled daughter, sitting in the rain for hours. And your mom?" Maya asked softly. Lily's face crumpled for just a second before she forced it smooth again, a practice motion, like she'd gotten good at hiding pain. "She died 3 years ago." "Oh, Jesus." The words came out before Maya could stop them. "I'm so sorry, baby." She reached across the table and covered Lily's small hand with her own. "That's really, really hard." Lily nodded, blinking fast. "It's okay. Dad says I have to be strong." Maya's jaw tightened. Strong. This 8-year-old shouldn't have to be strong. She should be allowed to be a kid, to be scared, to cry when she missed her mama. "You know what?" Maya said, squeezing Lily's hand. "It's okay to not be strong all the time. It's okay to be sad or scared or mad. You're allowed to feel things, Lily." Lily looked up at her, and for the first time, real tears welled in her eyes. "I miss her," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I miss her so much." "Oh, sweetheart." Maya stood up, moved around the table, and crouched beside the wheelchair. She wrapped her arms around Lily, pulling her close. I know you do." Lily collapsed into her, her small body shaking with sobs she'd clearly been holding in for way too long. Maya held her, rocking slightly, one hand rubbing slow circles on her back. "It's okay," Maya murmured. "Let it out. I got you." And across the street, hidden in the shadows of a luxury car, Marcus Blackwood sat with his phone in his hand, staring at the scene through the rain-streaked window of the diner. His business call had ended 20 minutes ago, but he hadn't moved. Couldn't move. because his daughter, his Lily, who hadn't smiled in 3 years, was laughing with a stranger, and Marcus Blackwood, Billionaire CEO, was watching the woman he didn't know teach him the most important lesson of his life. Sometimes kindness is the only currency that matters. 6 months had transformed everything. Maya's community programs had launched in 3 cities: job training for single mothers, scholarship funds for kids with disabilities, environmental cleanup projects that actually hired local workers instead of just writing checks and walking away. The press had fallen in love with her story. The Chicago Tribune ran a profile. The waitress who's revolutionizing corporate responsibility. Forbes followed with Maya Torres, the voice companies need to hear. But not everyone was celebrating. Brad Mitchell, VP of Marketing at Blackwood Technologies, watched Maya's rising star with barely concealed contempt. In every meeting, he felt her presence like an itch he couldn't scratch. She challenged him, questioned his numbers, called out his assumptions. And worst of all, Marcus always sided with her. It was Monday morning when everything fell apart. Maya sat at her desk, reviewing proposals for the next quarter's initiatives, when her phone rang. Internal number. HR. Miss Torres, this is Jessica Chun from Legal. We need you to come to the 50th floor immediately. Something in the woman's voice made Maya's stomach drop. What's this about? We'll discuss it when you arrive. Please come now. The line went dead. Maya stood slowly, her heart already pounding. Around her, the open office had gone unnaturally quiet. People were staring, not even pretending to work. They knew something. She could see it in their faces, that mixture of schadenfreude and pity that people get when they're watching someone else's life implode. The elevator ride felt like descending into hell. When the doors opened on 50, Vanessa Sterling was waiting, Marcus's executive assistant. Her face was pale. Her usually perfect composure cracked around the edges. Maya, she said quietly, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Know what? Maya's voice came out sharper than she intended. Vanessa just shook her head and led her to a conference room. Inside sat Jessica Chun, head of legal, a sharp-eyed woman in her mid-40s who looked like she'd rather be anywhere else. Brad was there too, leaning against the wall with his arms crossed, his expression carefully neutral. And 2 people Maya didn't recognize. Security, maybe, or corporate investigators. Miss Torres, please sit. Jessica gestured to a chair. Maya sat. Her hands were shaking, so she pressed them flat against her thighs under the table. What's going on? Jessica slid a folder across the table. We've discovered a serious security breach. Confidential financial documents were leaked to the press over weekend. Documents relating to our bidding process for the Morrison International contract. Maya's blood went cold. Morrison International, the $200 million deal Marcus had been negotiating for months. The deal that would determine the company's trajectory for the next 5 years. Okay, Maya said carefully. What does that have to do with me? Jessica opened the folder. Inside were printed email screenshots, server logs. The leak originated from your workstation, your login credentials, your IP address. Maya stared at the papers, at her name, her employee ID number, at timestamps showing someone accessing classified executive files from her computer at 2:47 a.m. last Sunday. That's impossible, Maya breathed. I wasn't even here Sunday. I was home with my son. He came in from college for the weekend. You can ask him. You can check my building security cameras. We have the server logs, Jessica said, not unkindly, but firmly. Your credentials accessed the executive drive multiple times between 2 o'clock and 3:30 a.m. The files were downloaded, and 30 minutes later, they were sent to 3 journalists. Then someone used my login. Maya's voice rose despite herself. Someone stole my password. Your password was changed 3 days ago. Brad interjected quietly from his position against the wall. Only you would have known the new one. Maya spun to face him. Something in his expression. Was that satisfaction? No, he looked almost sad, like he'd expected better from her. I didn't do this, Maya said, looking at each of them in turn. I swear to God I didn't do this. Miss Torres, we want to believe you, Jessica said, but the evidence is substantial. And given the severity of the breach, the board has voted to suspend you immediately, pending a full investigation. The words hit like a physical blow. Suspend me? Effective immediately. You'll need to surrender your badge and building access. Security will escort you to collect your personal belongings. Maya couldn't breathe. The room was tilting. No, you can't. I need to talk to Marcus. Where is he? Mr. Blackwood has been informed, Jessica said. He's in New York for the Morrison meeting. He'll be brief when he returns. Then call him, right now. Let me talk to him. I'm sorry, Miss Torres. The decision has been made. The 2 security officers stepped forward, not threatening but present. Final. Maya stood on shaking legs. This is a setup, and you know it. Maya, Brad's voice was soft, almost gentle. Don't make this harder than it has to be. She looked at him, really looked, and there it was, the faintest flicker behind his carefully constructed sympathy. He knew because he'd done it. It was you, Maya whispered. Brad's expression didn't change. I don't know what you mean. You did this. You set me up. Miss Torres, Jessica said sharply, making unfounded accusations will only make your situation worse. Maya's hands clenched into fists. She wanted to scream, wanted to flip the table, wanted to make them listen. But she lived this life long enough to know how this worked. A black woman's anger was always aggressive, always threatening. Defending yourself became attacking others. She was already guilty in their eyes. Anything she did now would only confirm it. So she straightened her spine, lifted her chin, and said nothing. The walk through the lobby felt like it lasted hours. 200 employees watching her being escorted out by security. The receptionist who'd been cold on day one now looked vindicated. I knew she didn't belong here. Outside, the Chicago air hit her like a slap. Cold, sharp, real. Maya made it 3 blocks before her legs gave out. She sat down on a park bench, surrounded by lunch hour crowds who didn't know or care that her world had just imploded. Her phone buzzed. Text from Rosa. Just heard. Coming to get you. Where are you? Maya couldn't even type a response. Her hand was shaking too hard. Another text. Different number. I'm sorry. I tried to stop them. V. Vanessa. Then her phone rang. Marcus. Maya stared at the screen, her thumb hovering over the answer button. Then she let it go to voicemail. 2 minutes later, it rang again. This time, she answered. Miss Torres. His voice was tight, controlled, but underneath she heard something that might have been anger, or might have been doubt. Did you do it? Maya's throat closed. No, the evidence. Someone set me up. Maya cut in. Someone who knew exactly how this would look. Someone who's been waiting 6 months for me to fail. Silence on the other end. Do you know who? Yes. Can you prove it? Maya closed her eyes. No, not yet. More silence. Then Marcus said something that made her heart stop. The board wants you fired. Prosecuted. They're talking about pressing charges for corporate espionage. Jesus Christ. I bought you time, Marcus said. 48 hours. That's all I could get. If you can find proof, real proof, then I can fight for you. But if you can't... He didn't finish. Didn't need to. Marcus. Maya's voice cracked. I didn't do this. I swear on everything I have. I believe you, he said quietly. But believing you isn't enough. We need evidence. Then help me prove it. I am. Vanessa is already digging into the server logs. But Maya, if this goes wrong, if we can't find evidence, they won't just fire you. They'll destroy you. Make an example. Press charges. Do you understand? Maya thought about her sons. About the apartment she just signed a lease on. The nice one. The safe one. The one she could finally afford. About the future she started to believe in. I understand, she said. 48 hours, Marcus repeated. Don't waste them. He hung up. Maya sat on the bench, phone in her lap, and felt the first tear slide down her cheek. Then another. Then she couldn't stop. People walked past, giving her wide berth, uncomfortable with public emotion. No one stopped. No one asked if she was okay. Just like always, Maya Torres was invisible. Except this time, she wasn't just invisible. She was guilty, and she had 2 days to prove she wasn't. It was 2 a.m. when Maya heard the knock. 3 sharp raps that made her jolt upright from the kitchen table, where she'd been staring at printed server logs for the past 4 hours, trying to find something, anything, that would prove her innocence. Rosa looked up from her laptop, eyes red-rimmed from exhaustion and coffee. You expecting someone? Maya shook her head and moved to the door, peering through the peephole. Marcus Blackwood stood in her hallway, tie loosened, hair disheveled, looking like he hadn't slept in days. She opened the door. What are you doing here? May I come in? His voice was rough, exhausted. Maya stepped aside. Marcus walked into her small apartment, his expensive suit looking completely out of place among the secondhand furniture and peeling wallpaper. Maya. Who? Rosa stood, crossing her arms defensively. Rosa, this is Marcus Blackwood. My boss. Marcus, my best friend Rosa. Marcus nodded at Rosa, then turned to Maya. I know who did it. Maya's heart stopped. What? Brad Mitchell. Marcus pulled out his phone, showing her a screen full of code and timestamps. Vanessa spent the last 16 hours tearing apart the security logs. The breach came from your workstation. Yes. But someone cloned your access badge 3 days before the leak. The physical security cameras caught Brad entering your office at 11 p.m. that Thursday. He was there for 18 minutes. Maya felt her knees go weak. Rosa grabbed her arm, steadying her. That son of a... Rosa breathed. But that's not enough, Marcus continued, his jaw tight. Brad's smart. He used a VPN to mask his home IP and make it look like the files were accessed from your computer. The badge clone isn't definitive proof. He could claim he was dropping off documents, looking for something. Any number of legitimate reasons. So we have nothing, Maya said flatly. I didn't say that. Marcus pocketed his phone. We need him to confess. On record. Maya stared at him. How? You wanted to call him? Tell him I know what he did. Not over the phone. A new voice came from the doorway. Vanessa stepped inside, holding a small leather case. In person, with this. She opened the case. Inside was a tiny recording device, no bigger than a button. Audio recording laws in Illinois require two-party consent. Rosa said immediately, anything recorded without his knowledge is inadmissible in court. We're not going to court, Marcus said quietly. We're going to the board. And trust me, they'll care more about protecting the company from a PR nightmare than they will about recording consent laws. The plan was simple. Maya would meet Brad at his usual after-work bar, McGinney's on Wells Street, and get him talking. Make him think she was beaten. Willing to walk away quietly for the right severance package. Men like Brad couldn't resist gloating when they thought they'd won. The next evening, Maya sat in the corner booth at McGinty's, nursing a glass of wine she hadn't touched. The recording device felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds against her collarbone, hidden beneath her collar. Brad walked in at 6:14 p.m. He saw her immediately. His step faltered. Then he recovered, schooling his features into concerned surprise. Maya, I didn't expect to see you here. Can we talk? Her voice came out small. Defeated. Perfect. Brad hesitated, then slid into the booth across from her. Of course. How are you holding up? How do you think? Maya laughed, but it came out broken. I'm about to be prosecuted for something I didn't do. I can't pay rent. My sons think I'm a criminal. So not great, Brad. Brad signaled the bartender for a whiskey. I'm sorry. Truly. But the evidence... I know what the evidence says. Maya leaned forward, but we both know I didn't do it. Something flickered in Brad's eyes. I'm not here to fight, Maya said quickly. I'm here to make a deal. What kind of deal? I walk away quietly. No lawyers, no appeals, no press interviews. Maya's hand shook slightly around her wine glass. Genuine nerve she didn't have to fake. In exchange, you get the board to give me 6 months severance and a neutral reference. That's it. That's all I want. Brad leaned back, studying her, taking a long sip of his whiskey. Why would I do that? Because you know I didn't leak those files. Maya held his gaze, and I think you know who did. The silence stretched. Brad took another drink. Then, slowly, he smiled. You're smarter than I gave you credit for. Maya's heart pounded. So you'll help me? Help you? Brad's smile widened. Maya, I don't need to help you. You're already finished. What? You think I'm afraid of you? Or what you might say. Brad leaned forward, his voice dropping. I've been at this company for 8 years. I have relationships with every board member. I golf with half of them. My father went to Yale with Morrison himself. He took another sip, savoring his moment of triumph. You're a waitress who got lucky. Who do you think they're going to believe? The recording device captured every word. So you did set me up, Maya said quietly. I protected this company from a diversity hire who was bleeding money into useless social programs, Brad said, his voice hardening. You were costing us millions with your community investment bullshit. The board was too afraid of the optics to fire you outright. So I did what needed to be done. You framed me for corporate espionage. I exposed security risk. Brad's eyes glittered with self-righteousness. And you know what? Morrison pulled their contract this morning. $200 million gone. Because someone leaked our bidding strategy. The board needed a scapegoat. And you were perfect. The outsider. The one who never really belonged anyway. He finished his drink and stood. It was almost too easy. Maya's hands clenched under the table. You destroyed my life for a business deal. I saved this company. Brad dropped 2 20s on the table. And honestly, Maya, you should thank me. You were never going to make it here anyway. People like you don't belong in boardrooms. He leaned down, his voice dropping to a cruel whisper. You belong in diners, serving coffee to people who actually matter. Then he walked out. Maya sat frozen for 3 seconds. Then her phone buzzed. Text from Vanessa. Got it. Every word. Get out of there now. The emergency board meeting was called for 8 a.m. the next morning. Maya sat in Marcus's car outside Blackwood Technologies, watching employees stream into the building. You don't have to do this, Marcus said quietly from the driver's seat. I can present the evidence myself. No. Maya's voice was steady despite her shaking hands. I need to face them. I need to watch Brad's face when they hear what he said. The 52nd floor boardroom was oak and leather and power. 12 board members sat around a massive table. Brad was already there, positioned near the head, looking confident. When Maya walked in, his face went pale. "What is she doing here?" Brad demanded. "She's suspended." "Sit down, Brad." The voice came from Thomas Whitmore, the board chairman. 70 years old, silver hair, the kind of man who built empires and buried enemies. Brad sat. Marcus gestured for Maya to take the empty seat directly across from Brad. Vanessa set up a laptop at the head of the table. "Gentlemen, Miss Patterson." Marcus nodded to the one female board member. "Thank you for convening on such short notice. 2 days ago, Maya Torres was suspended based on evidence suggesting she leaked confidential information. That evidence appeared conclusive." He paused. "It was also completely fabricated." Brad's lawyer leaned forward. "Mr. Blackwood, these are serious allegations." "They're facts." Marcus nodded at Vanessa, who pressed play. Brad's voice filled the room, tinny through the laptop speakers, but unmistakable. "I protected this company from a diversity hire who was bleeding money into useless social programs. I did what needed to be done. You were perfect. The outsider. The one who never really belonged anyway. It was almost too easy." The color drained from Brad's face. When the recording finished, the silence was absolute. Thomas Whitmore removed his glasses slowly. "Brad, would you like to explain?" "That recording was obtained illegally." Brad's lawyer jumped in. "In court, perhaps," Whitmore said coldly. "But this isn't a court. This is my boardroom. And I just heard one of my executives admit to corporate sabotage in framing an employee." He turned to Brad. "Did you or did you not leak those documents?" Brad's jaw worked. Sweat beaded on his forehead. "I was trying to protect the company." "That's not what I asked." "The community programs were hemorrhaging money. She was pushing us towards social responsibility initiatives that alienated our core partners. Morrison specifically complained about our woke direction. I made a business decision." "You committed fraud." Jessica Chin interjected sharply, and then Brad's composure cracked completely. He shot to his feet, pointing at Maya with a shaking hand. "She's a goddamn waitress who got lucky because she fed Marcus's crippled kid one night. She doesn't belong here. She never did, and you all know it." The room erupted. "For God's sake, Brad, shut up." Diane Foster, who'd been silent until now, stood abruptly. She turned to the board, her voice trembling. "I owe Miss Torres an apology. Several of us do. We stood by while Brad undermined her. We didn't want to see what was right in front of us because it was easier to doubt her than confront our own biases." Thomas looked at Maya for the first time. "Miss Torres, do you have anything you'd like to say?" Maya stood slowly. Every eye in the room turned to her. She looked at Brad, at his red face, his desperate anger, his complete inability to comprehend that he'd lost. Then she looked at the board members, at their expensive suits and uncomfortable expressions, at the system that had nearly destroyed her. "I want my job back," she said simply. "Not because I need your approval, not because I need to prove anything, but because the communities we serve need someone in this room who actually sees them as human beings." Her voice strengthened. "Brad was right about one thing. I am a waitress. I served coffee for 15 years. I know what it's like to be invisible, to be dismissed, to work yourself to exhaustion and still not be able to pay rent." She paused. "January 15th. That's exactly why you need me. Because every decision you make affects thousands of people who will never sit at this table. People who don't golf at your clubs. People who just want to feed their kids and believe that companies actually give a damn about them." The room was silent. "So yes, I want my job back. As Vice President of Social Impact, with a seat on this board, and full authority to rebuild the programs Brad destroyed." She looked at Whitmore. "Otherwise, I walk, and I take this recording to every news outlet in Chicago." Whitmore's lips twitched, almost a smile. "Miss Patterson, call a vote." The vote was 11-1. Everyone raised their hands except Brad's lawyer. Motion carries. Whitmore said, "Miss Torres, welcome back. Brad, you're fired. Security will escort you out." 2 years later, Maya stood in the back of Lincoln Elementary School's auditorium, watching Lily walk across the stage, walk, not roll, on her own 2 feet with forearm crutches decorated with stickers, to receive her 5th grade diploma. When Lily's name was called, she took her diploma, then turned to the microphone. "Can I say something?" The principal nodded, surprised. "I want to thank my dad for being here now, for everything." Lily's voice was small, but clear. "And I want to thank Miss Maya Torres." She searched the crowd. Maya stepped forward slightly. "There you are," Lily said, her face lighting up. "Miss Maya taught my dad how to be a dad again. She taught me that being different doesn't mean being less. And she taught both of us that kindness isn't weakness. It's the strongest thing there is." The applause was thunderous. After the ceremony, Lily found Maya in the hallway, diploma clutched in one hand, grinning. "You came." "Of course I came." Maya dropped to her knees, not caring about her dress on the scuffed floor. "I wouldn't miss this for anything, baby girl." Lily threw a free arm around Maya's neck. "I missed you so much." "I missed you too." Maya held her tight. "Look at you. Look at how amazing you are." That evening, after the celebration lunch Lily had chosen, a small Italian restaurant with checkered tablecloths and breadsticks, Marcus walked Maya to her car. "You know what Lily told me last week?" he said quietly. "She wants to do what you do when she grows up. Help people, build communities, make things better. She's going to change the world," Maya said. "She already has," Marcus replied. "At least she changed mine." He extended his hand. "Thank you, Miss Torres, for everything." Maya pulled him into a brief hug instead. "We're family now, Marcus. You don't have to be so formal." "Family," he repeated, testing the word. Then he smiled, a real smile. "Yeah, I like that." Driving home, Maya thought about that rainy night 5 years ago, about a scared little girl and a broken father, and a waitress who'd just been trying to help. Her phone buzzed. Text from Lily. "Thank you for coming. You're my hero." 3 heart emojis and a photo. Lily in her cap and gown, grinning at the camera, holding her diploma like a trophy. Maya saved the photo, then texted back, "You're mine too, sweetheart. So proud of you." Because Maya Torres knew something that people like Brad Mitchell would never understand. Real success wasn't measured in dollars or titles or corner offices. It was measured in moments like this. In little girls who learned to walk again. In fathers who learned to see their daughters. In communities that learned to thrive. That was the investment that mattered. That was the return that lasted. And Maya Torres was just getting started. Image prompt 3. Cinematic 4K photorealistic image. Elementary school auditorium stage. Warm golden spotlight lighting from above. Soft bokeh background of seated audience. Center stage. Young Caucasian girl age 10 with long blonde hair and neat braid. Wearing burgundy velvet graduation gown. Standing confidently with forearm crutches decorated with colorful stickers. Holding diploma in one hand. Speaking into microphone with bright smile. Eyes shining with joy and confidence. Left foreground slightly out of focus. Back of African-American woman's head with natural hair and elegant updo, wearing dusty rose-colored dress. Hand raised her face in emotional gesture. Right side background soft focus. Tall Caucasian man in his early 40s with dark hair, wearing casual navy blazer and khakis. Watching with proud expression, hands clasped together. American flag and school banner visible on stage backdrop. Shot from 45-degree angle at audience level looking up at stage. 85mm lens. f/1.8, warm color grading with golden hour tones, emotional triumphant atmosphere, shallow depth of field emphasizing the girl's confident expression, professional event photography style with cinematic quality.